A glowing light aura shimmered around the Minotaur's barrier. Even advanced sword techniques couldn't pierce through. Yesen pulled back his hood and frowned. There has to be a weak point somewhere. He sat down in a lotus position, scanning the beast calmly, his sharp gaze searching for flaws. His eyes trailed to the monster's tail. Just beneath it, the barrier ended. He scratched his cheek and tilted his head. No way. A mischievous grin spread across his face. Is its weakness, seriously, its butt? With no time to waste, Yesen shot forward, his dagger buzzing with lightning. Using shadow murder, he zipped toward the tail, blade ready. The Minotaur roared in agony as the dagger plunged into its rear. Thud! Its massive body collapsed, splashing purple blood across the golden sands. Yesen's smirk widened. Bingo! With the monster slain, its once tough hide was now just meat and muscle. He unscrewed a glass vial and began collecting the blood. 1, 2, 3 vials, then wiped the sweat from his brow. It doesn't matter how strong your defense is. Once you're re-dead. Standing before the corpse of the colossal beast, Yesen's eyes sparkled. Those horns must be worth a fortune. He sliced them off cleanly and slung them over his shoulder with a grunt, securing them with his backpack straps. Time to find a place to recover. Soon after, Yesen reached a hidden cave. Before him lay his hard-earned loot and a small stash of peanuts prepared by his sister. He smiled softly. This is my ticket into the world of warriors. He downed the vials one by one, throwing peanuts into his mouth between gulps. Inside his chest, energy churned violently. Power rippled from within. He closed his eyes. 20 days passed. Yesen hadn't moved an inch. Until finally. His eyes snapped open, glowing blue like twin flames. He let out a thunderous cry, lightning erupted in all directions. The ground trembled. Birds fled from the desert sky. A massive pillar of light shot up into the heavens. Far away, 2 girls stood atop a cliff. One wore a red cloak and smiled faintly. Someone just broke through to martial artist level in this wasteland. On her cloak, the words Martial Pavilion were stitched beneath a blooming flower. Back in the cave, Yesen opened his hands, feeling a torrent of power surge through him. I did it, he whispered. I've reached the martial artist level. Looking at the empty vials, he realized the 20-day cooldown was over. Time to copy another ability. He sprinted out of the cave, eyes locked on the armored bull's bones. Touching the horn, a notification popped up, copy failed, target structure incomplete. He froze. What? Staring at the skeleton, he sighed deeply. So if I'd known this, maybe I wouldn't have butchered it like a cooking show contestant. Back on the cliff, the 2 cloaked women observed from afar. Could he have killed the Minotaur? The younger asked. The older shook her head. He just broke through. That monster's been dead for a while. The younger girl frowned. So someone else took it down? And he's just scavenging? Her companion nodded. Still, it's impressive. Not many dare to climb this mountain. Down by the oasis, Yesen stood in front of his crumpled clothes, stretching. Been nearly a month, probably smell like the Minotaur at this point. He stepped into the water, ready to wash up. On the cliff, the red-cloaked girl gasped. What is he doing? That's indecent. Her mistress calmly pulled her away. Let's go before this gets awkward. With a splash, Yesen dove into the lake, sending ripples across the still surface. Elsewhere, under the bright blue sky of the Linhai Martial Arts Market, the scene was lively. Traders shouted, stalls bustled, and energy filled the air. Yesen stood in front of the largest shop in the market. A grand sign hung above it, Martial Pavilion. Raising an eyebrow, he stepped closer. Behind him, a blonde girl passed by, stealing a glance. Isn't that the same guy from the desert? Yesen stood still, eyes locked on the girl ahead. She turned back toward him, her eyes momentarily shut, then opened in surprise. His jaw dropped. Yo, he whispered. But the girl didn't react. They stood face to face, silence stretching between them like a drawn blade. The girl frowned slightly. Yesen's heart skipped. But then, reality struck. He blinked, his brows furrowing. No, it can't be her. He turned away and sighed, dragging a hand down his face. But something made his eyes narrow again. A faint shimmer of blue particles appeared near the girl's waist. A status window floated beside her. Yesen's instinct screamed. She's a genius. The blonde beside the girl stepped forward, eyes sharp. Who are you calling your sister, her? The brunette in red took a step too. And what makes you think you can talk to us? Shouldn't you be rolling around in the trash where you belong? Yesun opened his mouth in disbelief. I just showered. He sniffed his arm. Seriously, do I still smell like Minotaur blood? Before the verbal beatdown could escalate, the red-cloaked girl waved her hand. Enough, Zed, she said gently. It slipped out. She leaned close and whispered something to her. Zed's expression changed instantly. My apologies, she bowed. My mistress already disciplined me. Yesun watched as the red-cloaked girl, Yuling, began to walk away. Zhu, the blonde, grabbed his hand. Come on. My lady's busy now, but we'll take your monster parts to the Marshall Pavilion. Our manager's a brunette, she handles the trade. And we'll pay double as an apology. Yesun's eyes shot open. Double? He didn't need convincing after that. The pavilion was a fortress of wealth, walls lined with weapons, racks of polished armor, shelves of glowing elixirs. Yesun couldn't help but whistle. Guess this is what the biggest store in Linhai looks like. They reached a table. He laid down his loot, horns, meat, and blood of the armored bull. Zhu poured him some tea and smiled. We'll buy everything for 200,000. But with the apology bonus, that's 400,000. Yesun choked on his drink. 400? He covered his eyes, then nodded frantically. I'll take it. Gladly. The glowing card slid across the table. He pocketed them like precious treasure. My sister's gonna faint when she sees this. Zhu wasn't finished. She handed him a blue membership book. You also get a 50% store-wide discount. His grin widened. He flipped through the pages, eyes narrowing at the outrageous prices. High-level cultivation, only for the filthy rich, I guess. He raised his head. I'll take 1 body strengthening technique, 1 monster manual, 3 bottles of mid-tier monster blood, and 3 bottles of Kinuan solution. Zhu reached for the top shelf and returned with a box of supplies. With the discount, your total is 785,000, she said. But let's round it down to 700,000. Consider it another apology. Yesun thought back to the Shadow Killer's gift, his gold card. He handed it over without hesitation. Zhu returned his change. He picked up the suitcase, eyes thoughtful. This shop's too fancy to give discounts over a simple insult. What are they playing at? He headed toward the door. If they're not gonna say anything, I'll just wait, Zhu called out behind him. He froze. Turning slowly, he met her gaze. The manager, she wants to meet you personally. Yesun's eyes narrowed with curiosity. Show me the way. They entered a quiet room. Yuling was already seated, sipping tea. As she turned toward him, Yesun's heart skipped. They looked eerily alike. His eyes widened. Yuling extended her hand. I wanted to introduce myself, she said softly. The two stood opposite one another, mirror images in posture and gaze. I am Yuling, she said, voice steady, an elite warrior from the land of demons. As Yesun reached out and shook Yuling's hand, a spark of lightning burst between them. A system notification popped up in his mind, high-level cultivation talent successfully copied, his lips curled into a quiet smile. Yesun, he said, introducing himself properly. The sunlight spilled across the elegant room like golden silk. Yuling gestured toward a long dining table. Please, have a seat. She poured him some tea as Yesun sat down cautiously. The second floor is reserved for VIP clients, she said calmly. Yesun crossed his arms, unimpressed. Then why invite a poor commoner with no noble connections? Yuling paused, holding the teapot mid-air. That's exactly why I invited you. Her eyes locked onto his, cold, calculating, but not unkind. Yesun frowned. She's nothing like my sister. Her gaze is like ice. Zhu slid a cup toward him. Yuling took a sip from hers. Let's speak frankly, she said. She placed a red wooden cross on the table, its center decorated with a delicate flower. It glowed faintly. Join our martial arts hall, she said, crossing her arms. Yesun blinked. In his mind, he saw his sister again, giving him that look, the one that always made him cave. How can I say no when she pouts like that? He took the tea in hand, thoughtful. But I don't get it, he finally said. Mai is a massive city, full of talent. Why me? Yuling stood and walked to the window. It's not because we lack talent, she said, looking back at him. It's because we never stop searching for more. Yesun's eyes widened slightly. Who? Makes sense. He leaned back, folding his arms. Zhu leaned in and whispered, seriously, why the hesitation? You don't get opportunities like this twice. She smiled proudly. Even noble elites fight tooth and nail to climb in Maya's hierarchy. But my mistress? She doesn't care about that. Yesen closed his eyes. Joining a hall means restrictions. If they learn about my ability, I could be. He exhaled. Better to stay independent until I solve my problems. Yuling turned from the window, folding her arms. Why are you hesitating? Yesen glanced at her. That face, she's too sincere to lie. She stepped forward. Tell me the truth. Yesen clenched his fist. There are rumors, he said finally. The Iron Fangs are invading. The big families are going insane. Fighting each other over power. He looked down, then up again. I've only just started living normally. I don't want to serve those kinds of people. Yuling blinked. Who do you take me for? Yesen's voice was quiet. Are you really different? The elite warrior walked closer. Look, she said softly. Watch me. Decide for yourself. She smiled, just slightly. You don't need to answer right now. Yesen stared at her, brows furrowed. He left the building and stepped onto the busy street. Around him, warriors passed in full gear. A grand gate loomed ahead, a glowing hieroglyph etched above it. Lightning sparked between Yesen's fingers as he looked down at his hand. Warriors, talents. What are they really, he wondered. He watched the bustling city, vendors shouting, families hurrying, children laughing. Were warriors meant to protect? Or just show off their power? A football bounced near him. A group of kids ran up, grinning. Hey, mister! Can we get the ball back? One man stepped up instead. With a cruel smirk, he kicked it hard, pop. The ball burst. The children froze. Why do normal people suffer from monsters and warriors? Yesen thought bitterly. The man sneered and walked away. Later, rain fell like silver threads from the sky. Yesen stood alone on a rooftop, soaked to the bone, lightning dancing across his palm. His expression was hard. If I want to change anything, he muttered, I need to become stronger. Strong enough to stand above them. Yesen stared ahead as a status window materialized before his eyes. Begin merging talent. Yes and no. Before he could answer, sunlight bathed the quiet house. The door creaked open. I'm back, he called. Inside, Yayo was wiping the table when she heard his voice. In a flash, she rushed over and threw her arms around him. You're home, she cried, squeezing him tightly. She stepped back and looked him over, eyes wide. How did you grow up so fast in just 3 weeks? With a grin, Yesen took off his hoodie. I became a warrior. Yayo's jaw dropped. A warrior, she gasped, holding her face like it might fall off from shock. Wait till Mom and Dad hear. Oh wait, they'd re-gone, but still. They'd be so proud. She twirled with joy like she was auditioning for a ballet. Yesen watched her with a smile. One day, her talent will awaken too. And I'll help her all the way. Talent not yet awakened, freezing. Just then, Yayo picked up a pair of scissors. Your hair is getting ridiculous, she said, motioning him to sit. A warrior should look like a warrior. Yes, General, he joked, sitting straight. Hold still, she commanded, snipping with focus. Yesen, bring my hair back to its former glory. I got you, she said, eyes closed dramatically like a stylist in a commercial. Hair fell softly to the floor. Yesen lowered his head. Time's flying by so fast. He smiled faintly, remembering how Yayo had always cut his hair after their parents passed. A memory surfaced. Little Yayo stood behind him, scissors trembling in her hands. I can't do it, she whispered. Her lips quivered. There's a wound, she said softly. Blood trickled from the gash on his head. He just smiled through the pain. It's fine, the boy said, voice gentle. No need to spend money on the hospital. But just cut it short and cover it with a bandage. The scissors slipped from her fingers. Tears welled up in her eyes. It'd be easier if you had the immortal gelish power, she sniffled. Yesen turned. Immortal, what now? You told me about it, she said, squatting beside him. The gelish has the recovery ability. Gets hurt, heals instantly. Yesen groaned. That was a kid's story. How are you still falling for that stuff? Clenching her little fists, Yayo pouted. It's real. He patted her head. Fine, fine. If I get a power, maybe it'll be that one. Eyes closing, the younger Yesen made a promise. One day, no one will be able to hurt me. And I'll protect you. Always. Back in the present, he jumped from his chair. Jellish, he shouted. Yayo flinched, scissors midair. Sit still. I'm not finished. But Yesen was already gone, darting to the bookshelf. He pulled out an old treasure book and flipped through it. There. Immortal Jellish, rare creature of the dead lake. Possesses the talent of recovery. His eyes lit up. Yayo came up beside him, puzzled. Why are you talking to yourself? He smiled, deep in thought. If I could copy that recovery ability, I wouldn't have to worry about getting injured in battle. Leaning over his shoulder, Yayo squinted. You still believe in that fairy tale? You told me about it when I was 5. Yesen slammed the book shut. Asterisk, it's not a fairy tale, he said firmly. She rolled her eyes, arms crossed. Well, come back and let me finish cutting your hair, Jellish boy. Holding the book tightly, Yesen sat down again as she got back to work. He read another passage. Warriors can strengthen their bodies through a 3-stage technique, skin, muscles, bones. He looked down, placing his hand on his knee. Let's see how far I've come. A brilliant clot of energy formed next to him, glowing fiercely. His grin returned. Yesen sat in a lotus position, deep in thought. Let's see if progress is still this fast. He picked up a vial filled with monster blood, this time from a mid-level creature, and drank it without hesitation. The red liquid slid down his throat as a purple aura swirled around him. His eyes widened. 3 times faster. The boost was insane, but his focus remained sharp. The dead lake. That's the next step. The cooldown on his copy ability was 30 days. That gave him just enough time to train. Until then, cultivate. Meanwhile, dark clouds loomed over the battle pavilion. The door creaked open as an unawakened figure entered. The clerk, Zhu, looked up and blinked. You? Yesen stepped forward, hands in his pockets, his new haircut making him look more like a boy band member than a warrior. Zhu ran over, pointing at him. Are you here for my mistress again? Nah, he replied. Just need to buy something. He's kinda cute like this, she thought, for a trash digger. She smiled awkwardly and waved him in. Yesen, right? What are you looking for? Got a map of the dead lake. She nodded and opened a cabinet. Pulling out a neatly rolled scroll, she placed it on the counter. This is it. Yesen's eyes lit up. This was exactly what he needed. 100,000 yuan, Zhu said with a grin. Without flinching, he handed her a silver card. As he turned to leave, Zhu clutched her chest. Even elite warriors avoid the dead lake. Creepy monsters everywhere. Hope this guy doesn't get himself killed. Far from the city, thunder rumbled as pink lightning slashed the sky. A wave of energy danced across the mountains. Yesen landed on one knee before the ruined shores of the dead lake, a grim smile forming on his face. Let's see what you've got for me, DLL. He surveyed the broken landscape, decay, silence, danger in the air. A red aura pulsed faintly. Something was watching. Then, boom! A flash of lightning. The sky cracked open. Yesen narrowed his eyes. A storm formed above the water as a massive typhoon spiraled upward. Something was hiding inside. Green energy burst from Yesen's feet, shadow talent activated, and he bolted into the air. Up above, a giant sphere of lightning crackled violently. From its center, a figure emerged. Umbrella in hand, the man raised his voice. Yuling. Let's take it down together. Yesen's eyes went wide. Wait, that's... Below them, a Titanic. Monster opened its jaws. Too late, someone yelled. The beast snapped its mouth shut, but the heroes leapt away just in time. They landed on the shore, only to find a top-tier monster waiting for them. Gritting his teeth, an older warrior hurled a young woman, Yuling, out of harm's way. I'll hold them off, he shouted. She fell to the ground, clutching a golden box. Behind her, a swarm of monsters emerged. Surrounded, muttered Yesen, watching from the distance. Suddenly, a giant crocodile charged toward Yuling. Enough waiting. Yesen leapt into action. The elite warrior rushed the beast, which barreled toward Yuling with its jaws open. At the last moment, she closed her eyes. Then, whoosh! A flower symbol bloomed on her forehead. Her hair turned pink. A saber formed in her hand. Pink energy danced like petals around her. Her comrade shouted, "Be careful!" But in the blink of an eye, she was gone. The monster froze, confused. Then, slash! She reappeared above it, her eyes sharp, her grip unshaken. A sword mark carved across the monster's head. With a swirl of power, she landed beside it as the energy blast sent dust exploding through the air. Yesen jumped back, eyes narrowed, heart racing. She's strong, but that monster's not down yet. From his perch, Yesen watched in awe as Yuling danced through the battlefield. Is this some kind of secret technique? She sliced through the giant crocodiles like they were made of paper. Yesen blinked in amazement. Okay, note to self, never make her mad. Each swing of her saber tore through scales and bone. The air shimmered with wild energy. Yesen realized just how far behind he was in raw combat. I'm not even in the same league. Meanwhile, one of the lake monsters rose from the depths, its teeth clamped around the leg of an old warrior. It opened its mouth to devour him. Mistress! Run, he shouted, blood pouring from his mouth. That secret technique won't last forever. Yuling, now glowing with power, didn't hesitate. She sliced the monster clean in half. But the man's voice trembled. If you don't leave now, the deaths of our 10 comrades will mean nothing. Yuling closed her eyes for a moment. Even from afar, Yesen could feel the weight of her decision. What are they protecting? He wondered. What's so valuable that they'd fight this hard? She jumped. More crocodiles chased her. The glow on her forehead vanished, her hair returning to its usual black. Oh! The technique had ended. Yuling crashed to the ground. The golden box she'd been holding rolled away. Yesen landed beside her, his cloak billowing in the wind. She blinked at him, her vision blurred. He picked up the box and looked down at her. What's inside? He asked. With a grunt, she tried to rise. Relax, he said. I'm not here to rob you. Behind them, the monsters growled. No time for arguments. He scooped her up, holding her carefully in his arms. We'll find shelter first, he said. Silence means yes, right? And with that, a burst of energy shot them away from danger. Bird soared over craggy rocks as the two finally found safety. Yesen laid his cloak over Yuling, watching her face. She really looks like her sister? He noticed a small mark under her eye. At first, he thought it was dirt. He gently rubbed it. Nothing. His eyes widened. A birthmark, it's real. Above them, dark clouds began to gather. Yuling still hadn't moved. How long will she stay unconscious? Then, slowly, her lips parted. She mumbled something. Yesen's jaw dropped. Why you awake? She sat up, rubbing her forehead. Did you save me? She asked. Yesen looked away, pretending to yawn. I was just passing by. Yuling smiled and handed him back his cloak. Thanks, still, she said. As he put it on, she looked him over. A guy who dares come to the dead lake alone, impressive. Gotta recruit him. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a glowing crystal. Yesen blinked. What's that? She smirked, raising it dramatically. Oh? Surprised? I scared you, didn't I? She teased. It's called a light stone. It stores ambient light, very useful in dark places. As it floated upward, tiny glowing particles sparkled in the air. Yesen leaned in. Where did you get this? Twirling the crystal, she smiled. I'll tell you after I drink this. She popped open a healing potion, took a sip, and winced. Yesen scratched his chin. Definitely no spatial-type skills among her talents, probably. Yuling sat in a lotus position as green healing particles shimmered around her. She kicked her now resting companion gently. I'm healed. Yesen stood up, arms folded, ready for whatever came next. Do you really want to know where I got all this? Yuling teased, lifting a small bag in one hand and a bronze box in the other. Yesen blinked. Wait. That chest was way bigger a second ago. She smiled as the box shrank and slipped easily into the bag. His eyes widened. Not a spatial talent. It's a spatial treasure. Impressed, he asked, can anyone learn to use it? If you join the battle pavilion, I'll take you to our headquarters. I'll teach you everything, she offered with a wink. Yesen yawned and flopped down on the ground. I need to sleep first. Yuling watched him in silence. I will recruit you, even if it takes everything I've got. Meanwhile, Yesen lay on his side, eyes closed. Spatial treasure, healing potions. Once I copy those talents, I won't need this stuff anymore. But his thoughts darkened. She disturbed the dead lake. It won't calm down anytime soon. Morning arrived over the lush green valley. Yesen lay alone, stretched out under the sun. He sat up, stretched, and wait. Where's Yuling? She was gone. But not far from him, a red box lay in the grass. He opened it, puzzled. It definitely wasn't from the cave. Inside were a mid-level deep training manual, 10 bottles of high-level monster blood, 10 gold cultivation cards. His jaw dropped. She left all this for me. Smiling, he whispered, thanks. He uncorked one of the bottles, the red liquid glowing faintly. Plans change. First, I'll become an elite warrior. Then, I'm coming for the immortal jellyfish. For months later, a fire crackled under a roasting boar. Empty cans and a ragged cloak lay nearby. Yesen sat cross-legged, glowing with energy. Bolts of lightning exploded into the sky. He opened his eyes, his hand crackling with power. This is the strength of an elite warrior. He stood up, throwing on his cloak with a grin. It's time to hunt. Rain poured over 11 fresh graves. Standing before a simple wooden cross, Yesen remained still. She built these, he murmured, eyes scanning the site. Not even bones left behind, but she still honored them. He picked up a stone and placed it on one of the graves. Turning to leave, he spotted something odd, an umbrella stuck into one of the grave markers. It was a diver's umbrella? He took it and opened it curiously. How could this help underwater? Suddenly, bubbles surrounded him. A watertight bubble lifted him off the ground. Grinning, he floated up. This is amazing. He zoomed across the surface of the dead lake, splashing waves with each movement. Then, without hesitation, he dove under. Inside the water, he marveled. This umbrella lets me move like lightning underwater. Thanks to Shadow Talon, his vision sharpened. Green energy shimmered up ahead. Then, a message flashed before his eyes, mid-level blood talent detected nearby. A massive fish swam past. Yesen froze, heart pounding. Mid-level monster. I can't fight that head-on. He swam deeper, his foot finally touching the lake's bottom. In the darkness, eyes glowed. No way, is the immortal jellyfish really here? From above, tentacles draped down like a curtain of doom. A huge shadow shifted. Yesen spun around, just as a tentacle struck the ground beside him. What the hell? His eyes widened in horror. A massive creature loomed before him, its tentacles glistening, its mouth lined with fangs. That's no ordinary monster. Immortal jellyfish, top-level restoration talent. A tentacle lashed out toward the bubble. Yesen summoned a dagger, energy crackling along its edge. With a roar, he sliced it off in one clean stroke. The jellyfish shrieked in pain, but the limb was already regenerating. Yesen's grip tightened. This is going to be a problem. A new tentacle emerged where the old one had been severed. Yesen squinted through the murky water. As expected, a top-level restoration talent reacts this fast. The tentacle whipped toward him. Without hesitation, Yesen reached out and touched it. His hand crackled with lightning. White heavy checkmark talent copied successfully. A moment later, he shot toward the surface. His bubble burst, and he gasped for air, but instead, he crashed down onto the rocky lakebed. Flat on his back, he wheezed, then grinned wildly. It's mine now. The talent of an immortal jellyfish. But his celebration was cut short. The creature spat a purple glob of saliva at him. The acidic goo struck his umbrella, it sizzled, burned, then fell apart. A few drops splashed onto his arm, searing his skin. He bit down a scream as the current dragged the ruined umbrella away. His eyes turned sharp, red and alert. I can't stay here any longer. More sparkling eyes shimmered around him. A swarm of jellyfish was closing in. Yesen clenched his fists. No point in fighting a whole hive. He shot upward, cutting through the water. Rain fell over the dead lake as Yesen emerged. He gasped for breath, gulping in the fresh air. Below, tentacles churned toward the surface. But with a burst of pink lightning, Yesen launched himself from the lake, moving so fast the rain seemed to freeze around him. He hit land, feet crackling with energy. Back at his cave hideout, he collapsed on the cold stone floor. His chest heaved. I actually survived that. Summoning his status window, he wasted no time. Merge copied talent? Yes, he hit the button. Green lightning surged through him. Yesen winced, but smiled through the pain. How many times has my body endured this already? White heavy checkmark talent fusion successful. A new status screen appeared, listing all his acquired abilities. Placing a hand on his chest, he nodded. The process is easier now. Time to test it. He glanced at a burning wound on his hand, the toxic saliva still eating at his skin. Ordinary people would have died already. He activated recovery. Green particles flickered. The wound vanished. Yesen stood up, fire in his eyes. He struck the cave wall with his bare hand, crack. The stone split open, huge craters forming. He looked down at his unharmed hand. So far, all these talents, they're defensive or supportive. He needed offense. It was time to find new targets. The next morning above the city, dark clouds parted as the sun rose. Yesen turned the pages of a beast encyclopedia, thoughtful. The flaming bird, the powerful bear, both had solid combat skills. Don't twitch, Yeo warned, scissors and comb in hand. Sorry, Yesen muttered, sitting still for his haircut. Then, one creature on the next page caught his attention. An ant, labeled ferocious low-level beast with supernatural strength. He read further. They appear in swarms. Even great warriors can't escape if surrounded. A smile crept across his lips. At the battle pavilion, the sky was a soft orange. Yesen pushed open the door. Welcome, an employee chirped. She was sorting goods on the shelf. Turning, she recognized him. Oh. It's you. He placed a piece of paper on the counter. I need the complete remains of this and the one with supernatural strength. She picked it up and raised an eyebrow. You planning to drink it? She teased. Tinctures really bulk you up. Yesen blinked. Do I really look that weak? Raising her finger, the blonde explained, we don't have the beast, but we've got information. Then tell me everything. She brushed her hair behind her ear, then pointed to a map. There's a new trade route being planned between Linhai Stronghold and a smaller nearby point. The area in between is crawling with fierce beasts, including those ants. Scratching his head, Yesen asked, are you talking about Tar? That's the closest town to Linhai. She nodded, serious now. Z confirmed the location, it was about 100 kilometers from Linhai. She added something more troubling, the Mo family suspected Tar of killing one of their own. Yesen frowned. Are they planning an invasion? Z shook her head, dipping her hand into a barrel of supplies. No. They're investigating, she said. Tar claims it's a misunderstanding. In fact, Tar and the Mo family had a long-standing connection, and it was thanks to that bond that Tar had brokered a deal with the Lin family to establish a new trade route. Yesen rubbed his chin. Trade routes, political tension, monster-infested paths, this can't be good. Just then, the blonde held out a small card. This is your entry pass, she said. We gave it to all mid-tier and small-point warriors joining the route-clearing mission. She waved her hand. We're not going. We only work with the medium-tier zones now. Yesen took the card, a sly smile creeping across his face. Perfect. Z added, if you take part in the monster-clearing mission, you'll find what you're looking for. That ant? They live along the route. Yesen looked at the card thoughtfully. Even the Mo family bowed to the Lin clan, rulers of the Linhai Stronghold. Guess it's time to see what the big boys are up to. The square in front of the Lin family estate buzzed with energy. Yesen crossed through the crowd, hands in his pockets, eyes sharp. This isn't the place to get careless. All around him were battle-hardened warriors, men and women with grim expressions, heavy armor, and weapons gleaming in the light. There he is, someone whispered. Fingers pointed toward the stage. Minjin had arrived. Arms wide open, he greeted the crowd. Welcome, brave warriors. Thank you for joining us in this monster-clearing mission. In the crowd, Chaining narrowed his eyes. Moen furrowed his brows. Yesen noticed them both members of the Mo family, without a doubt. Above them, the blue sky stretched calmly, almost ironically serene. A man on stage shouted over the gathering, Linhai base is small. Our resources are tight. But if we connect with a medium-sized base, the benefits will be massive. That's why this mission is vital. He wasn't wrong. Knights in iron armor stood to the side, still and silent. Nearby, someone murmured, monster hunting is risky and not worth it unless the rewards are huge. As if on cue, A.G. Lingan smirked and shouted, this mission's yield will surpass a regular hunt by miles. The Lin family members raised their arms and cheered. The excitement surged like a tide. A man in a dark cloak turned toward the stage. Fenning raised his hand in greeting. Yesen squinted, smiling to himself. Does the captain even remember me? On stage, Minjin stepped forward. To clear your doubts, he said loudly, we promise this, every resource you earn is yours to keep. He raised his fist. The crowd erupted in cheers. And one more thing, Minjin added, hands on his waist. Each warrior will receive 20 servings of mid-level beast blood and 2 million gold. Elite warriors will get 3 top-tier beast blood servings and 10 million gold. The crowd lost it. Fists punched the air. Sign me up, someone yelled. The registration line snaked across the courtyard. A woman in pink called out, testers, form a line. Warriors stepped forward one by one, placing their hands on a stone boulder that glowed when touched. Intermediate phase disciple, qualified, the stone boomed. One by one, they moved through. Yesen stood quietly in line, head down. Ying was right, he thought. No point in working under others. Next to him stood a man in a black fur coat, someone Yesen had a bad feeling about. More reason to stay under the radar. If the test revealed him as an elite warrior, he'd draw too much attention. When it was his turn, Yesen approached the massive stone. He placed his hand on it, reminding himself, don't go all out. Control it. Blue light flickered gently around his fingers. He closed his eyes. Just enough to qualify, no more. Fog rose, and bright inscriptions began to glow on the boulder. Then, the booming voice rang out, Final Phase Warrior, qualified. Yesen's lips twitched into a restrained smirk. Guess I underestimated myself, again. As Yesen walked away from the testing area, a man frowned and squinted at him, one eye shut. The whispers had already started. Almost an elite warrior, and that young. Which family does he belong to? Must be a hidden genius. Girls nearby giggled, calling him both talented and handsome. Yesen pulled up his hood. It's just a glimpse of my strength, he thought. And still, I attract too much attention. Nearby, a muscular warrior clenched his fists. Looks like we've got ourselves a new high-level hero. The short-haired man next to him smirked. We should ask the commander to recruit him. Our squad's still one short. But Fenning, the commander, shook his head. Final phase warriors are in demand. Doubt he'd look at a small squad like ours. Just then, Yesen approached. He pulled down his hood, smiling casually. Commander. Fenning's eyes widened in shock. You're the one who saved the little girl from the silver moon wolf. He laughed, clapping Yesen on the shoulder. It's been a year, and you've already leveled up this much. Yesen just smiled. Guess I've just been lucky. Then he added, would it be all right if I joined your squad for this mission? Fenning blinked, then raised a finger in the air. Accepted. Yesen gave a respectful bow. Glad to be working with you. One of the girls in the group turned, visibly relieved. With another late-phase warrior, we can breathe a little easier. Yesen scratched the back of his head with a small, modest smile. If only they knew. They stepped into the ruined city, once a base, now a shell overrun by creatures. Damaged buildings loomed on either side. Commander Fenning raised his voice, map says only low-grade monsters live here. But don't rush. Keep your guard up. A howl echoed through the city. Then another. Wolves. Yesen turned sharply. They're close. Real close. Suddenly, they were surrounded, a full pack of beasts snarling from all sides. Form ranks. Fenning barked. I'll cover the front. Yesen, take the rear. The rest of the squad moved instinctively into position. A gleam of light reflected off Yesen's sword. It had a round hole in the blade, a sign of its unique construction. He smirked. Leave the back to me. The warriors stood shoulder to shoulder, weapons drawn, eyes locked on the enemy. The wolves bared their fangs. Their eyes glowed bright, hungry and wild. Fenning shouted, attack together. Yes, Commander. They leapt in opposite directions. The battle erupted. Yesen danced between fangs and claws. His sword sang through the air, slicing through fur and bone. Blue blood splashed around him. Yin, watching nearby, widened his eyes. So fast. A wolf lunged, Yesen kicked it mid-air, sending it crashing into a broken wall. Another beast charged. Yesen launched himself skyward, then came crashing down, his blade buried deep into its skull. The wolves fell one by one, until nothing remained but corpses and blood. Someone clapped behind him. "Well done," Fenning said, stepping forward. The battlefield was still. Blood pooled around the bodies of the slain monsters. Fenning laughed. "But you're still slower than me." Yesen chuckled and closed his eyes. "Only because I'm holding back." The black-haired girl smiled sweetly. "I like him more and more." Another warrior grinned and stretched. "So young and strong." "Commander, you better not slack off now." Yin watched from a distance, eyes sharp. Fenning was scolding the young man for talking too lightly. The squad regrouped, taking a breath. A warrior sat next to one of the fallen wolves. They attacked before we reached the valley, knowing they'd have a better chance. They stood in the middle of a wide road, open but uneasy. Fenning frowned. "This isn't wolf territory," he said. "These lands belong to creatures far worse." The short-haired warrior's face went pale. Fenning placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We've got 2 final phase warriors and 3 middle phase ones. We'll be fine." Then he pulled out a walkie-talkie. "What's this?" "It's from the Lin family," Fenning replied, holding it up. "Each commander carries one. If something goes wrong, we can call for backup." Relieved smiles spread across the group. But Yesen wasn't smiling. If wolves are this aggressive on the outskirts, what's waiting inside the valley? The team turned and continued their journey through the destroyed city. Rubble lined the streets, broken buildings loomed above them, and tension clung to the air like smoke. Suddenly, the commander froze. His ears twitched. He reached for his sword. "Something's coming," he said sharply. Yesen's eyes narrowed. Above us. Everyone looked up. A hulking figure crouched on the rooftop, its eyes burning, tail flicking. "Flame lizard." The system's voice echoed in Yesen's mind. "Detected, flame-type monster, classification, low level," the creature hissed, opening its mouth. Fire flared inside. Yin's eyes widened. "It's a fire talent." The beast unleashed a searing fireball. The warriors barely managed to leap back as a massive explosion tore through the place they'd been standing. The flame lizard roared and jumped from the rooftop. A couple of warriors stepped forward boldly, weapons drawn. "Leave this one to us." Commander Fenning crossed his arms. "Seems low level, but don't let your guard down. Fire's not a joke." The warriors leapt into the air, blades flashing. Yesen watched them calmly. They can handle this. Smoke swirled. Flames danced. The lizard was fast, but so were the warriors. In the middle of the smoldering rooftop, one of them grinned. "We nailed it." The muscular man clapped his partner on the shoulder. "Your shots kept it distracted. Good teamwork." The girl smirked. "Low-level monsters?" Easier than brushing off a speck of dust. Bright yellow light flashed across the sky. Before they could react, boom. A golden blast sent them all flying. Thick, dark smoke surged from the epicenter. Yesen stepped forward, his eyes narrowing. This isn't over. From within the flames, shadows emerged. More flame lizards, twice as many, larger, angrier. The warrior picked up his radio, voice shaky. "This is Squad C. We're in trouble. Requesting backup." The commander called for help, but only static hissed in response. Fenning's expression hardened. "They're ignoring us." One of the warriors growled, furious. "Damn the Lin family. They're abandoning us." Fenning's face twisted in frustration. "I thought, this time, we'd prove ourselves." The radio cracked in his grip. "They're rotten to the core." Then he drew his sword. "I'll hold the monsters off. You all run." The squad hesitated. "Commander." Fenning turned, his voice hard. "That's an order?" The girl's mouth fell open in shock. The bald warrior clenched his fists. From the back, a man in a blue shirt suddenly dashed away. "You guys are crazy. Keep pretending to be heroes, I'm out." The bald man growled. "If that coward survives, I'll kill him myself." Fenning placed his hands on Yesen's shoulders. "You've got potential. It'd be a shame to waste it here. Take 2 of them and go." Even the bald warrior stepped aside. "You should leave too." The black-haired girl nodded. "You're still new. Don't throw your future away." Yesen smiled softly. "If I run?" "I only run forward." He stepped into the smoke. A blue mist began to swirl around him. Sword in one hand, backpack in the other, his aura shifted. The air crackled. Fenning's eyes widened. He's been hiding his power. The energy around Yesen roared like a storm. Elite warrior level. The others stared, stunned. A lizard launched a massive fireball, but Yesen didn't flinch. I didn't want to show this. Explosions thundered around him. The battlefield became a furnace. Yesen looked ahead. If I don't fight, the Wind Wolf squad dies here. Yin leapt into action. The flame lizard opened its maw wide, but Yesen struck first. One swing. His sword sliced through the monster cleanly. Fenning stayed behind, just to protect us. As he fought, another thought echoed in his mind: it would be cruel to keep hiding my strength now. Flame lizards lined up again, mouths glowing with fireballs. But Yesen's expression was calm. I'm not like those dogs from the Mo family. Two blazing fireballs roared toward Yesen. He raised his sword, electricity crackling around him. Too late to worry about consequences now. But deep down, he knew Commander Fenning wouldn't hold this against him. Behind him, the smoke-wreathed building collapsed, crashing down onto the lizards below. Boom! The ground quaked from the blast. One of the girls grinned in awe. So this is the power of an elite warrior. Lightning surged around Yesen. He jumped high into the air, sword gleaming. His jaw clenched. His focus sharpened. He landed like a thunderbolt, right between two monsters. The sword arced through the air. A white-blue spark lit up the night. The lizards shrieked, electricity coursing through their bodies until they collapsed, twitching and charred. One of them opened its mouth one last time, its rows of sharp fangs gleaming, before it hit the dirt, lifeless. Fenning's hands trembled slightly. So strong. The commander narrowed his black brows. There was no doubt now, Yesen was one of the strongest warriors in Linhai. Just then, a loud scream echoed through the night. It was the man in the blue sweater. Flat on the ground. Two giant wolves sprinting toward him. He curled up, wailing pathetically. The bald warrior squinted into the distance. Commander, the coward's in danger. Fenning walked up slowly and shrugged. He ran alone like a fool. Let him deal with it. Yesen picked up his bag. The road's clear now. He threw on his backpack and turned to the others, grinning. You guys coming, or retreating? The three warriors froze. They weren't expecting that. Fenning closed his eyes, then clenched his fists. We go together. Wind Wolf squad faces everything, together. Yesen smiled. Minutes passed. The guy with the scar on his forehead winced as the girl tied a tight bandage over his wound. Look at him, she muttered. Not even a scratch. Doesn't look pathetic at all. Yesen stood calmly on the rooftop. Down below, Wind Wolf looked up. Thanks for helping us get this far. Yesen barely glanced back. I'm going to try something. Wind Wolf's eyes widened. You're going further? Yes, Yesen replied flatly. The others approached, unsure. Yesen, maybe we should all go back, one said. But the protagonist was already walking away. Fenning paused for a moment, then called after him. You're really going alone? Yes. Fenning nodded. With your power, I'm not worried. Yesen turned to him one last time. I'm fine, Commander. He continued walking. Behind him, Wind Wolf spread his arms. Wait! We need to talk. The scar-faced guy turned to Wind Wolf. Are we really letting him go alone? Wind Wolf closed his eyes. We'd only slow him down. A guy like that doesn't need help. He looked at Yesen's back as it disappeared into the shadows. There was no smile on Yesen's face anymore, only quiet resolve. A few minutes passed as he walked alone through the dead city. His thoughts echoed, before I run into something even stronger, or a real disaster. I need to know the limit of my recovery ability. He walked between two massive corpses, monsters he had slain minutes ago. Then he stopped. A strange scent drifted into his nose. He grimaced. Smells awful, he muttered, pinching his nose. What even died here? Ash blew across the ground. A giant building, half destroyed and still burning, towered in front of him. Suddenly, Yesen's eyes narrowed. Something's coming. He felt energy from underground. What the? The ground began to shake violently. Yesen staggered back, trying to maintain balance. Crack! The building splintered, pieces flying everywhere. Then it exploded. Boom! A massive, red, muscular fist burst out of the ground. Yesen jumped just in time, but the fist followed him. Smash! The blow connected mid-air. Blood sprayed from Yesen's mouth as he was hurled across the sky. His body twisted in the air, but before he could even hit the ground, he flipped over and dove back in. A storm of destruction raged beneath him. The massive red fist was still smashing wildly, destroying everything. Yesun drew his sword mid-flight. The enormous hand twitched, as if it sensed him, and lunged again. But Yesun was ready. He dodged, just in time. The stone ground split violently as Yesun landed nearby, barely dodging in time. Suddenly, boom! A massive creature exploded from underground, soaring into the sky before landing with a thunderous quake. Before Yesun stood a gigantic red monster, eyes burning like scarlet embers. Its entire body radiated deadly magic. Yesun's eyes widened. Then, he smiled. A perfect opponent. He said, gripping his sword. Let's test how far this talent of mine can go. The monster locked eyes with him, and its burning pupils flared even hotter. In the next instant, its mouth opened wide, gathering fire magic at a terrifying pace. Yesun's smirk vanished. What the hell is it planning? Before he could move, a stream of hellfire erupted from the monster's mouth, swallowing everything in its path. Boom! The explosion lit up the sky. Back at base, Wind Wolf's squad watched in horror as a massive column of smoke and flame shot into the air. A battle just started, one shouted. Wind Wolf clenched his teeth, a cold sweat on his brow. He stared at the rising inferno in silence. Back at the battlefield, everything was reduced to flaming rubble. Then, a figure burst out from beneath the debris. It was Yesun. His shirt was torn to shreds, and he had a wild grin on his face. That lizard head, not bad at all. Dusting himself off, Yesun stepped forward and raised his voice toward the monster. I have an offer, he yelled. Let's go all out. Have some fun before you die. In response, the Lizard King roared and unleashed another ferocious stream of flame. Whoosh! Yesun vanished inside the blast. Everything around ignited, roofs, rubble, even the air itself. Yesun lay on the ground, skin scorched, a grin still hanging on his lips. This is just right, he groaned. A warm, healing aura surrounded him. He planted both hands into the burning earth. So you really want to burn me alive, huh? The next second, he stood up. He threw his sword over his shoulder. His eyes burned even brighter than the Lizard King's. I'm done playing, he said. Time to kill the Lizard King. His body surged with magical energy. He launched into the air like a meteor, aimed straight for the monster's face. Time seemed to slow. The Lizard King began charging fire magic again. Yesun's sword gleamed with fury and rage. Boom! An explosion shook the entire battlefield, stronger than the last. An hour passed, and yet, horrifying shockwaves were still felt miles away. The bald member of Wind Wolf's team shouted, those fire pillars haven't stopped in an hour. What kind of monster are they fighting? The boy covering his ears screamed, is Yesun even still alive? Wind Wolf shouted back, I don't know. But we can't interfere with a battle like that. Back at the battlefield. Yesun's sword was buried deep in the Lizard King's flesh. The massive creature lay still, finally defeated. Yesun, soaked in sweat, sat atop the monster's corpse. He looked up at the sky, exhaled heavily, and whispered, game over. Victory. But it had come at a cost. Yesun frowned. This recovery ability, it drained so much stamina. He felt hollow, like a shell that had just barely survived the storm. He stood slowly. Looking at the creature he had slain, he trailed his fingers along its massive body, leaving a glowing path through the blood. I'll need that to recover. Yesun crouched down and placed both hands on the monster's corpse. He began to absorb the blood. Soon, he sat in a lotus position, hands on his legs, and closed his eyes. A soft melody hummed from his lips as his body absorbed the vitality. Time passed. Back at the camp, the bald guy pointed at the battlefield. The noise stopped. The battle's over. The girl looked at Wind Wolf's back. Is it over? The guy with the scar raised a shaky hand and pointed. Someone's coming. All eyes locked forward. Out of the smoke walked Yesun. Alive. Victorious. Commander Fenning smiled wide. His back. Yesun. Wind Wolf called out. The protagonist raised a brow. You didn't tell them to retreat. Wind Wolf scratched his head, grinning nervously. Well, we couldn't help, but we couldn't just sit tight either. The girl stepped forward, eyeing his scorched body. You okay? You've got nothing left to wear. Wind Wolf quickly pulled a spare t-shirt from his pack. Here, take this. It might be a little big though. Yesen didn't argue. He put it on. The girl glanced away, blushing. Sorry, it doesn't really fit. Yesen scratched the back of his neck awkwardly and stuttered a quiet thank you as he accepted the oversized shirt. Smiling up at the moon, he let the cool breeze calm the fire that still flickered within him. Meanwhile, the bald guy nudged the commander. What are we gonna do with all that loot? Wind Wolf frowned. Yesen deserves it. Every last bit. But Yesen, rubbing the back of his head and adjusting the belt on his waist, interrupted. Keep it. You all stayed behind. Because of that, the beasts didn't merge into a pack. Take the trophies, you earned them. The bald guy threw his arms up in celebration, standing atop the monster's carcass. I've never seen so much good stuff. The girl laughed. Seems like Yesen's not just tired from the fight, he's about to be wiped out from looting too. Yesen, eyes wide open, shook his head. I'm not interested in leftovers. I've got something more important. He turned sharply. I'm going after the Lizard King. Wind Wolf blinked. You're not transporting the prey with us. Yesen gave him a cold side glance, then turned and walked away. Wait! Where are you going? The commander shouted. The protagonist looked over his shoulder with a sly smirk. To the ant nest, where the ones with supernatural powers live. Wind Wolf's jaw dropped. Why you kidding? Yesen sprinted through the wilderness, leaving behind a streak of glowing energy in his wake. Wind Wolf's warnings echoed in his mind. The hardest area to clear is the ant nest. Even if they real level, there are too many of them. A wise warrior knows when to run. But Yesen's eyes glowed with unwavering resolve. I'm not here to run. His landing shook the earth as he arrived near the nest. Looking down from the rooftop of a ruined building, he scanned the gathering below, multiple elite armies already in place. He could feel their power. His aura pulsed with tension. The main forces are all here, Yesen muttered. He spotted familiar figures. There was Chaining, someone he recognized from the Mo family. And beside her, Mingjin, representing the Lin family. But then, his eyes narrowed. An old red-haired man stood out among the crowd. His right eye was covered with an eye patch, and his battle aura was unmatched. That was King, a legendary warrior from the Iron Fang base. Suddenly, King turned. Who's watching us? He roared. Yesen's breath caught. Crap. He noticed. The soldiers looked up, eyes locking on Yesen, standing atop the roof. King raised a hand. Get him. Yesen froze. A little early for introductions, huh? Moments later, two soldiers had dragged Yesen in front of the Iron Fang leader. King's glare burned into him. Are you an elite warrior? He stroked his beard and studied the young man. Who are you, and why were you watching the army? Yesen, sweating slightly, said, I'm a warrior from the Linai base. I heard there was a big mission here. I wanted to prove myself. King frowned, then suddenly barked, let him go. But the rest of the army wasn't satisfied. Whose family is he from? He's not one of ours. Shouts rose from different factions. No one knows him. King folded his arms across his chest. At your age, to be elite is rare. Why doesn't anyone recognize you? Yesen looked down, awkwardly raising his hands in defense. Then came a laugh. Mingjin stepped forward, grinning. How can none of you know him? He placed a firm hand on Yesen's shoulder. He's from my Lin family. Yesen blinked, realizing Mingjin had just thrown him a lifeline. Smart move, always one step ahead of the Mo family, he thought. Yesen smiled and closed his eyes, playing along. Mingjin folded his arms confidently. Yesen, show them what you've got. Then he leaned in, whispering with a smirk, an elite warrior, for free. But not everyone was happy. Up on a distant rooftop, Yuling clenched her fists. The Lin family, always scheming. He doesn't belong with them. Her gaze remained fixed on Yesen, eyes burning with suspicion. Yesen Zhu glanced toward Yuling and muttered, you were right. Yuling's lips curled into a sly smile. Of course. And don't forget, Yesen, you belong to my martial pavilion now. Up above, a flurry of birds suddenly scattered across the sky, their flight disturbed by something far more dangerous. A thunderous sound echoed across the plains. Dozens, no, hundreds, of white-clad warriors marched forward, their feet shaking the ground beneath them. At the front of the army strode the imposing figure of Old Man King, hands tucked in his coat pockets, like a storm hiding in silence. Yesen walked among the ranks with his eyes down. Now that I've been exposed as an elite warrior, he thought, there's no chance of leveling up quietly anymore. But then he smirked. No matter. With my current strength, I've got nothing to fear. Suddenly, a